All right, folks, welcome back to another exciting episode of Yomo. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. So today we are on 269, Reflection 269, and today we're doing two of three of the book, My Stroke of Insight by Jill
Bolte.
Bolte
Yeah.
Taylor. Yeah.
Yep.
So hopefully, today we can put it more in line with what we did last time. So
Yeah.
what we got today.
Well, that was a fun conversation last night, honestly. It's always fun, but that one felt like, really a lot of fun because we hadn't talked for a week because I was out, and just felt good to get back in the flow of things, Just recapping the book, this is about this lady named Jill Bolte Taylor. She's a brain scientist and she had a stroke and she lost a massive stroke on the left side of her brain. So she lost all of her ability to do what the left side of your brain does, which is talk, linear communication, being connected to reality, goals, all those things that we do every single day, like completely just went out the window for her. And she was only living as what she called a fluid for many years, where she was just only on the right side of her brain, and just kind of in this connected universe, and like what she called basically like nirvana, like what Buddhists call nirvana. Like all you got to do is have a stroke on the left side of your brain.
Well, that's what I'm saying is you have to understand that certain part of your brain is responsible for certain things. If you have a stroke in the wrong side of the brain, the thing is, imagine you have a stroke that is affecting your right brain. You're gonna be in misery. It's like
Robot.
you're more like this monotonous kind of person.
Yeah, it'd be like a robot, basically. I mean, really.
Do anything about it.
Or you'd be in heaven because you're like, oh God, I get to do tasks all day long. All I got to do is do tasks.
No, I don't think anyone likes it though. I mean, that's what I'm saying is
Yeah.
I was telling you yesterday that I'm heavily, a left brain, dominant, right? Very
Yeah.
heavily. I don't like it. This is how my that's what I made. That's what I do for a living, and I use that skills for a living. But I don't like it.
Right.
I don't like the feeling. I don't like the feeling of having things in order. Which, like the thing is, to a certain extent, I want order, right? For example, I told you like, I mean, I told you that before, like, when you say, hey, let's go on a vacation, right? I got to plan everything out, figured out, where to go, what to do, imagining like I'll get there, do this, blah, blah. Like you get through all those things, like you can have some kind of sense of control,
Right.
but at some point it becomes too much. Right. And then to me, like I can tell you, a vacation to me is like work, which is extra work. It's
Yeah,
double work, right?
you're like, shit, now I got to organize stuff that I don't even know how to organize.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the need or the want to be organized and to be meticulous to a certain extent is good, but overboard isn't. It creates this. I mean, like I told you, I went to a brick wall and I said, well, I can't do this anymore. I give up. I just say, hey, I don't want to have to answer to anyone about deadlines, about goals, about this and that. It's like I get to the point where have had it. And so,
Yeah.
like I said, yes, for the most part, I want to have control over my life, have control over my day, decides what. That's what I'm saying is for me. If you ask me to do something right now, right, I don't like it because it breaks into the planning I had. So, that's why I say, hey, if you want me to do something, give me a heads up, like 24 hours, because I can fit in, I can compensate for this and that, I
Right.
can move things around. But, if you ask me, hey, whatever you do, drop it, do something else, right? To me, that has become it.
Like torture.
It is actually pretty
Yeah.
torture.
Yeah.
It's a pet peeve of mine. That's why for me, I hate being late.
Right.
I hate it. It's the biggest thing for me,
Right.
right? Because that's what I'm saying is because of that, it causes you to be miserable. This is what I'm saying. And I know that, right? I'm inflicting my own self with my own misery just because I say, well, what's the point of being 2 minutes late? Say, okay, I'm sorry, but
Right.
I
Right.
can't. The more I learn throughout this journey, the more I'm able to cut off kind of nip it in the bud whenever these things
Yeah.
happen. But before it's like I don't want to be late. So for me, it's like if you say, hey, if the meeting is at 8 o'clock and at 7:55 you're late.
Right.
So that's the mantra that I subscribe to. And what I call now is a bunch of BS. And who gives a shit?
I mean, you're
Like who
right. Like
gonna go say, well, why are you running for a train? That's what I did.
right.
And I did that like strictly. I mean, I was very good at it. I came here maybe was 10 years old, right? Starting school in sixth grade to 12th grade. I have fucking perfect attendance.
That's pretty wild, honestly. There was one person that I knew that did that in the school that I went to, and we were all like, whoa, that chick's never missed a day of school. How is that even possible? She's never been sick. She never had an emergency come up. How is this fucking possible?
Because that tells you how much anal I am about
right.
being ridiculous. And that sucks.
Right.
That's the thing is, I did it, but that sucks. I don't know if anybody can understand what I'm saying, but it's hard to describe it, but it sucks. So if you were to lose the right brain of yours and all you have to do is the left brain, all the logic stuff, you would become so bored and so monotonous that you're gonna die from boredom.
I mean, you're probably right. It's funny you're talking about traveling and how that can feel like torturous to you. I just came back from a vacation, and the way that I travel is I'm like in oblivion world, just wandering around, looking at everything, taking it all in. I'm like, I don't know what we're gonna do. We'll just figure it out when we get there. My wife is way more into your camp, where she's like, I got to know, I have everything coordinated or whatever. And I'm like, fine, you do what you want to do. I don't really care. I'll just show up.
That's a problem because that's what I say is when I go on vacation, it's double work because at least at the work, right? Most of what I plan out, like 90% of them comes true, right? I did this and I did that. Okay. When you go on vacation, less than 50% of chance, like maybe 30% of the time and so you're in this world controlling anything.
You're just wandering. Like, I mean, really, you're just wandering and you're trying to figure out like, like where you are and like what to do and like how to enjoy and take it all in. It's for me, it's when I'm traveling, it's more I like look at the castle all day long. I'm just like looking at the castle all day long. As a matter of fact, like I barely even look at the spoon. I forget that there's even a spoon there when I'm on vacation. It could be a bad thing sometimes where like my wife.
But the thing is like, the spoon is like, for example, for me, vacation safety, where things are, where should it go, what are the probability of things gonna happen? Like, let's say you lose the luggage. Well, what is the worst thing gonna happen if you go and you lost a passport? For example, for me, if I go onto anything outside the country, I have 3 sets of passport copies of paperwork, like physically,
that's
digitally, locally, and on the cloud. So the thing is, this is what to call about the logic. Sometimes it's too much.
Yeah.
It's enough to be,
it was it was hard enough for me to remember to put it in the safe when we were at
most people even forget their passport, right? For me, I don't even forget the copies of the copies.
This one time I traveled pretty regularly for work and vacation and stuff like that. I remember this one time recently, I totally forgot I was flying domestic. I totally forgot my license. I just didn't even have my license with me. I get to the lady, that takes your scans your boarding pass and takes my license, and she's like, can I have your license? I'm looking for it. I'm like, oh shit, where's my license? I was like, what do I do? And she was like, well, there's a little known fact that you can board a flight without a license. And I was like, okay, what do I need to do? She's like, well, you have to submit to a full-on pat down and somewhere like where they're gonna like basically molest you. Are you okay with that? And I was like, I mean, yeah, I guess it's fine. I was like, I don't have another option at this point in time. But I was like, this is when you learn. So for me, okay, like this is where it's fun for me. This is when I get to be my trash panda, my mapache, right? Like self, where I'm like, where like for instance, my wife went to the zoo on Sunday before we left 2 Sundays ago to go hang out with our old nanny Kiara and her new child. And I had a tennis match in the morning, so I was gonna meet them at the zoo about like around 11:30 or noon or whenever my match was over. So I get to the zoo, and by that point in time, the zoo is packed, and they have like this overflow lot that's like 15 minutes away, and you got to go like take a fucking bus back because the main parking lot's now full. So they were putting up cones as I pulled in, and like this is when like raccoon brain kicks in, where I'm like, what do I do now? So I just went up to the guy, rolled down my window, and I was like, hey, I gotta go pick somebody up actually, at the front gate. And he was like, oh, okay, well, you can go through. And I'm like, so I just figure out my way through things is my point. Like, I mean, I like whenever problems present themselves to me when they arise in the world, like I don't plan on anything usually. I'm like, we're gonna go here, and that's where I'm going, and then I just adjust as things happen.
The thing is, you have to understand that it's not that you can't do what I do and I can't do what you do. It's just that
I don't like to do what you're doing.
Yes, exactly. It's do you prefer this or do that? Because it's not that you can't find a solution. It's like, I would prefer not to do it. It's like, for example, for me, it's like, if I have a choice between to lie to you and to tell you the truth, I don't care if it hurts or not. I would tell you the truth. I can choose to say, hey, maybe I let Chris down softly and not give him like rip the band-aid off. I would just go straight to you and say, "Hey, you go, Chris."
I mean,
The,
that's
the
fair.
thing is,
Yeah.
if I try, I can go and be gentle with you and let you down slowly. As a preference of how you feel about what you do,
Yeah.
that causes the misery. That causes the anxiety
Right.
because it is an element inside of that element. You are actually expending energy and not, you gaining energy. Just like we're talking about eating a cake versus the frog, right? Whatever animal that eats frogs, they don't want to eat the cake. The cake is like, yeah, it's just yucky
I
food,
don't want
right?
it. Like that's eating the frog for me is having it fully planned out because then it takes away all the spontaneity of travel. Like stumbling upon an amazing little restaurant after you've been wandering around the city all day, or learning the cities that you're going to, or problem solving when the parking lot's full or whatever. Like for me, that's the fun of the journey for me. Like I don't want like
Right,
that's
because some people energized by certain feelings,
yes.
right?
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
what I'm
like
saying
yeah.
is that the feeling is different depending on different people. But so the point of all this, go back to the
Right. Right,
original,
right.
like you can be 80%, but 100% of anything, I don't care who you are, it is completely bad, right?
Agreed.
Even if you're like very
I
heavily.
can't not plan at all. Like I mean, I have to have like
Exactly,
right.
like
Like I got to do the basic level of planning for a trip, and then
so
from
so
there,
so
like
80-20, maximum,
right.
but you have to be like, 50-50, preferably 50-50, right? But
Yeah,
some people are 80-20, but at least you have to have the 20 that kind of keeps you sane. Otherwise,
sure.
you go insane from doing the same fucking thing over and over again. So
Right.
for you, like you have to plan. Oh, I'm going on a trip, right?
Like, and then we'll figure it out from there. I'm not gonna set up the whole entire day and
Right.
what.
So hey, I gotta send Luca to grandparents. I'm not like,
Right.
oh, I completely forgot about Luca.
Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Like I know that there's things that need to get done, and I get those things
20%. As I
done.
said,
Right.
even
Right.
if you're on the extremity, you can only max out at 80%. You can't take the 100%. The 20% that needs to be there has to be there, because otherwise they're gonna put you in
Yeah.
in an asylum just because you
It's balance, right?
have
Back to
no
balance, right?
responsibility. Say, hey,
Yeah.
what's talking about with you? You left your kid by himself. You're supposed to take him to your parents. Oh,
Right.
did you even ask? Right? I just dropped him off. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you, Chris?
You got them for a week now. Like, what are you doing? No, I agree with you. I mean, you
I
got to
just
have a
found
balance.
out.
Definitely have to have some semblance of a balance. Otherwise, you're like, just
That's
you
why
can't
I say balance.
uh,
At the end of the day, it's about balance. I think
yes,
balance, even for me as an extremity on the left brain, kind of style thing, I don't like it. I tend to prefer more a mix between, even though I was a extremely like, like I told you, but as far as my level of how I feel and how I like my feeling, right? I kind of like towards the 50-50 or
of course.
60-40, right?
I mean, yeah. No, I'm 1,000% with you. And that's what clubbing is all about, is balance. So, but here, all right, let me get to this reflection because we technically haven't even covered it yet, but you kind of have actually a little bit. So this reflection title for this one was "Own Your Power. Peace is only a thought away." So I'll kind of skip some of the generalities of all this stuff, but emotions, right? Like this is about emotions. So according to Jill Bolte Taylor, she says that, and this is from her own studies, right? Like of her when she's bringing back online her left side of her brain, like emotions, are there for a reason. Like we've talked about this at length in a lot of different other
Mm-hmm.
past reflections, right? Like emotions are not a bad thing; they're just a signal, right? And a lot of times, and this goes back to Seven Habits, and the space between stimulus and response is your freedom to choose and all that good stuff. Well, with emotions, when they hit like your elephant, like most of the time it's not an urgent situation. Like very rarely is there going to be a lion pouncing on you or a tiger getting ready to, or a shark getting ready to bite you or a car coming at you or something like that. So like I would probably say 99.5% of the time of your life, like whenever some emotion comes to you, it's probably not something that your elephant needs to instinctively act on, where you just need to let the emotion be the 100% driver, right? You know what I'm saying? Like the actual instinctual emotion, flee, fight, whatever, just let your elephant automatically do what it needs to do. For every other emotion out there in this world, the space between stimulus and response is your freedom to choose. And according to Jill, based on her research and based on her life and what she experienced, she was able to say emotions come and go within 90 seconds. If you can experience an emotion and let 90 seconds pass by, you can literally change your thought going forward. A piece is literally only a thought away. I tend to agree with her at this point in time. Like if you feel really, really frustrated, if you just took a breath for 90 seconds or something like that, and then came back to it and we're like, okay, how do I want to process this emotion? Get your rider involved at that point in time and help guide your elephant. Like, you could definitely do that and decide what that path is going forward. So it literally is only a thought away. And so much so, on this particular reflection, I told you yesterday when I was finishing this book, I was down in Tampa, Florida, visiting one of my best friends, and it happened to be September. And September is when they start this thing called Hallow Scream at Busch Gardens. So like the theme park down in Tampa. And like, I haven't been to a theme park in, I don't even know how long it's been. I think the last time I went somewhere was like at Disney World in 2007 or something like that, maybe to a theme park. So it's been a really long time, and I never do this with my friends. They were like, hey, Hallow Scream is really cool. It's the opening weekend of it. They were like, we should go check it out. Him and his wife was like, let's go. And I'm like, okay, fine, let's check it out. So we go down to this Hallow Scream fest. I had just finished this book, and I just learned this whole piece is only 90 seconds away kind of thing. And I was like, let's take this thing into reality, right? Like, I was like, let's test this thing out. So I went to a theme park on roller coasters, which I hate. I hate roller coasters. And they have all these different haunted houses set up all around the Busch Gardens. That's what Hallow Scream is, right? They have 10 different really cool haunted houses they build and they put up. So I'm like, I'm going to test this shit. I'm going to test this shit out. Can I wait 90 seconds before, or can I not let my elephant take over and try to stay calm on a roller coaster in these haunted houses? And it was like comical. Like, I mean, I was trying to actively do this, right? We would walk into a haunted house and I would go, okay, Chris, like, focus on your breathing. Like, it's okay. I'm letting my rider tell my elephant everything. And then somebody would jump out from some space and I'm like, I would laugh at myself and I'm like, okay, what am I doing? All right, focus. Like, I tried to do this in every single like fucking haunted house that we went through the entire night. Every roller coaster that we got on, I'm like going up, you're hearing the clink, 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 clink as it's getting to the top. I'm like, okay, you got this. Like, just focus, whatever. And as soon as we hit the first fucking like the hill, I'm like, and like the funny thing is, it was the funniest experience ever because like this was like why amusement parks were so great, because we never let our elephant never really gets to instinctually act very often. We think it does, but like truthfully, it's probably, I mean, when was the last time you ever had to, and your elephant had to get an emotion, a stimulus that had to immediately react for you to feel like, to protect yourself? Like, like what was the last time that happened to you? Like, can you remember?
No, as far as I can tell, I don't. That's the emotion that I don't want to.
Exactly. What we're so afraid of.
The thing is, it's not that I'm afraid of it. I just don't want the emotion. Because you think about like the thing is, like, for example, me, I don't watch any scary movies. My wife, my kids loves it. Like, why are you watching it? Because it's scary. And then when something happens at night, Dad, can you go check it out?
Like, I told you not to watch this. Yeah.
So why are you calling me now? It's like,
right.
You want to be scared now? Now there's something outside. Now maybe some kind of wind, with a tree trying to, wrestling against something else, and it makes some noise, and you call me to come out and check it out and see if there's no burglars or whatever. It's like, why are you calling me then? It's like, this is the thing, is the emotions. I don't like haunted house. I don't like scary movies. It's not because I'm scared of it. It's just like, I don't like to evoke the emotions.
Right.
Just for the fun of it. I mean, I don't know why people do, but obviously a lot of people loves it. That's why haunted house and the screaming, whatever, it's very popular, and like movies is like horror movies. Like Stephen King is making a name for himself writing horror stories and whatnot, and until obviously the populations is more common than I can relate.
Well, it's because our elephant wants to, like, we want to use our elephant like they're that survival instinct that we never get to use because it's harmless, right? We know that we're not actually gonna die in a haunted house or something like that, but you feel like you are. So the point of why I was giving this example is you can't control that, and you shouldn't. Like, as a matter of fact, you shouldn't. But if you're gonna go on a roller coaster, just let your elephant like freak the fuck out, because it should. That's what that's designed to do. It's designed to freak your fucking elephant out. Like, a haunted house is designed to freak your elephant out.
The thing for me is like, there's no reason why you want to freak that elephant. Because
I mean, sometimes it's just funny, like, and sometimes your elephant just needs to be trained. I don't know. Like, but the what I was getting at with this whole reflection, though, for every other emotion out there, like, you literally, all you have to do is just wait 90 seconds, put a clock on. This was in the month when I was doing my stop, spot, and swap challenge, and like, that's basically the whole point of it, is like, recognize when something's happening, like, wait 90 seconds or so and swap it out for something else. Like, I mean, it is hard, like, but you have to train yourself to do it. And it's not like
Right.
I'm
I mean,
great at
I think that's the same concept as the space between stimulus and response
it.
is
Yeah.
freedom to choose. I mean, to me, it's not about do or don't do. It's about did you want to do that, or did somebody press you into it? Because
Did
like
your
I can
elephant
go
just act like,
right,
or did you process that emotion and say, I'm going to choose this, like,
right. Because the thing is, I want to punch you in the face, right? Did you press me to punch you in the face, or did I choose to punch you in the face? So that's to me the big difference. The
yeah.
big difference is that if you choose, that's good. If you don't, that means that somebody controls your emotions and make you act, and that's
I
bad.
agree.
And a lot of people allows the elephant to do that, but that means that you're not training your elephant. Your elephant is not trained according to you. It's trained according to its genetics, its conditioning over the
Right.
eons of years, like how it behaves in the past and how it continues to behave. And so that's why for me is when you watch these movies and let your elephant acts out, I mean it's the same emotion that evokes whenever you had some kind of life in danger events in the past.
Right.
You don't have a life in danger events. It's just that it's not as common as before.
Right.
But it's one of those things where you don't need to feel it. You don't need to experience it.
You
I
should.
mean,
I mean,
but
there's no reason to.
most people like the thing is for me is like, oh, you gotta experience something once. Like I don't want to experience, getting poison ivy. I don't want to experience getting my head chopped off. There's something I want to experience. So experience isn't everything. Okay, it's about what did you choose to experience it, or you choose to act on certain things. To
Right.
me, that's where I draw the line. Are you in the driver's seat, or somebody is driving it for you? If that's the case, then to me, life doesn't have a lot of meaning if that's the case, because somebody else is living life through you versus you living life.
Exactly. And like, this is, I think the thing with Jill Bolte Taylor and this book in particular, and why she makes a point of this, and it's an important point, is she now spent so much time, she spent so much time before in her life, and society is just left brain dominated. Like, that just is what it is. So everybody kind of knows what that looks like, because we live in that every single day. And that's typically where you're going to be nurtured into and understand the best. Like, we don't live in a right brain society for the most part. I don't know if there is societies out there in this world that are right brain dominated. I'd be curious to explore that a little bit to see what that might look like. But her point was she spent so much time in that right brain mindset that she felt she could flip back and forth easily between when she would experience emotions as she retrained herself to come back into this world and bring her brain back online for full capacity. Like, she also remembered, oh, I can literally flip this thing back and forth when I want to, and I can change my perceptions of what's going on at all times. And I think you and I both know this, like, at this point in time, that you can just totally change your perception. I mean, like, it's like we were talking about yesterday when I was talking about getting stranded in Houston and having to go to that hotel. And then, I see that young boy that was like maybe 10, 12 years old or something like that in the wheelchair. Talk about feeling his energy. Like, I mean, he just looked scared and nervous and he was shaking. And I don't know if that was his everyday thing, but he just looked uncomfortable and he looked unhappy and he looked like, I just want to go to bed and be somewhere safe and protected. And I'm seeing that and I'm going, you know what? Like, is this really that big of a deal? Is this really the worst thing that could ever happen? I watched my daughter pass away in my wife's arms. Is getting stranded in Houston with a free hotel and having to wait online for 5 minutes to get a room key or something like that? Is that really the worst thing that could happen in this world? But my point of what I'm getting at is I can control the reality of this. I was still with my wife. We were still on an adventure. We were still exploring. We were still having a lot of, like, it's very easy to train yourself to do that. It's hard to remember to do it though sometimes. But at the end of the day, it's your choice. I mean, it really is. Like, I mean, you're right. This is something we've talked about a lot in the past. Like, this the space between stimulus and response is your freedom to choose from the 7 habits. I mean, I think this really like hammered it home for me of like her saying like, I've done this like in my head. Like, I know you could do this all day long. Like, I literally was flipping back and forth. I'm like, we can do this. I don't see why people don't try,
So the thing is, I mean, for me is I think a lot of times we are controlling our elephant in the wrong way. So I imagine like you're driving a car, right? You're the elephant that's driving a car. I'm in the back seat, I'm the rider, right? And I am telling you how to drive or how to move your legs, or whatever, because I am supposed to only give you instructions,
Right.
not to do it for you. As the elephant, because the elephant is the big gigantic thing. It has to move its own legs. It has to move its own
Yeah.
trunk. It has to do whatever. So you imagine like me and you in a physical car, you driving, and I am in the backseat. I'm telling you what to do. Does that annoy you?
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly, because
I got to
let
perform. I got to act. I need
let
to be
me do. You
distraction
say
free.
let me fucking do my job. Tell me
Right.
where you want to go. Don't tell me go left. Don't tell me change lane. Don't tell me
Right.
this. Right. That's what we're doing to our elephant today, which is you are trying to tell the elephant to do everything that it is supposed to do. So you're supposed to train the elephant and let it does its job based on its ability to perform that job. So it's about training your elephant to do the thing without thinking.
I think that's a little off of this one because this is more about training your rider. Your rider can act when there's time to act. Your rider can get engaged when there's
Right.
time. When the elephant isn't performing something, when you're not, like, the point of what this reflection was for me is like when I'm at a theme park and I'm getting shocked left and right, on a roller coaster or in a haunted house, I don't have time to think. That's the point of it, right? I just need to let my elephant be my elephant. When I'm on a tennis court, I don't have time to think. I just have to act. And that's when the elephant is supposed to be at their best. In this scenario, though, with 99% of the emotions and stimulus that we receive, we do have time. We have time to stop and let your rider process this and to figure out what message do I want to send back to my elephant of action that we want to take here, and then let the elephant act, right? That's the whole point of what I'm getting at with this whole thing. This is the rider's time to shine. Like, the rider's time to shine is when you have time to think. For most emotions, we think we don't have time to think, but that's not true. It's actually, it could be further from the truth. Like, almost every emotion you receive on the course of a given day does not require immediate action.
So I agree to some extent. The reason why I say that is because the thing is, regardless of what you do to the elephant, if it doesn't know and you are deciding, let's say you decide to see in a different perspective, right? It can't just do it. Because I told you before, if I were to have a time machine and go back to tell my 20-year-old self, hey, this is the life lesson, he would not listen to me because he has not been trained yet. So whatever thought that I can give him, because he has not been trained yet, it will not work. So that's what I'm saying is there is like a yin and a yang in this thing where you have the when you say peace is only a thought away, only if you have some sort of an open mind first. If you
Right.
don't have an open mind, then you can't do it. The peace isn't going to work in that scenario because the elephant isn't listening. So that's what I'm saying is when you're too micromanaging your elephant, it gets to the point where it's so, peeved out in I don't want to listen to you anymore. I only want to do what I want to do. So the elephant, for example, like I said, for me, I like a certain thing, right, in a certain conditions, and you like something opposite. So a thought isn't really matters in a sense of, okay, is it that different for this person versus the other person, right? Because whatever it is, the affinity of that person, that thought, as long as it's aligned, it's gonna bring him peace, right? So even if he changes it, but he's refused to acknowledge that change, it's then gonna bring him peace. Because the thing is, a lot of times you can't override the elephant emotion, even if you tell him to do so. Does that make sense? Because the thing is, there is two
That's
parts to it.
but that's kind of, it doesn't actually kind of make sense to me, only because what I'm getting at is what she's saying is in 90 seconds your elephant will forget the emotion, the stimulus that came in. Your elephant is primed to act always on an emotion. Like that's what it does. Like, and if you just wait 90 seconds before, if you train your rider to tell your elephant, wait 90 seconds, and then you can do whatever you want to do after that. Like, most of the time, that whole entire stimulus is gone at that point in time. Like, it's completely different. Like, she's saying the emotion will pass. Like, it's whatever the
Right.
physiological.
I think I agree with that. I agree with that aspect. I just don't agree with the saying that peace is only thought away. That is on a second level.
That's the next. Yes, that's once the
Yeah.
emotion passes, then it's
Saying is that the peace only thought away can be achievable only if you train your elephant to accept some of these suggestions from the rider. Because in the
right.
beginning, it can't. So I agree with Jill. It's like when she say, if you basically hold off on your action for 9 seconds, your decision to act is going to change because you don't, let's say I want to punch you in the face only because you did something to me and I reacted in a way.
Right.
I felt bad afterward because, it wasn't, you didn't deserve it. Maybe you did it on accident. Maybe it was supposed to be a joke. And so most of the time, that's the case where the emotion, if you allow yourself to process emotion, your action is going to be more in line of who you really are versus the heat of the moment.
Exactly.
So in that sense, I agree with Jill. The peace is only a thought away as far as today's reflection is that is possible only if you get to the point where you are able to see some of the other side, like I did. Because, like I say, I was so stubborn when I was younger that I don't care who tells me. I don't care if you're like fucking Einstein. You can say, hey, come to me and say, hey, I don't care who you are. I don't believe you. And so there's nothing you can get me to say because I don't know what I don't know. Until I know that, hey, there's more I don't know than what I know, then when Einstein would say something, well, maybe I can consider. I'm not going to say, nah, this guy is a bunch of BS. And I just brush him off immediately. That's the thing is whenever you get to the point where you experience the other side of your brain and you say, well, there is other ability, just like for me, for run for trains and, all these saying that we have learn over the course of the journey.
Training your elephant.
Gives some
training your
room.
rider. Right.
Well, it's both. You have to train the rider to act in a certain way. You have to train the elephant to say, well, how do I behave in a certain way? Because even if there's emotion, right? Because emotion is what trains the elephant. So the thing is, the emotion is what the elephant puts out, but the emotion also trains the elephant. Because if you think that you're scared all the time, then your elephant's going to think that's what you want it to do, and they continue to do it.
That's called a panic attack. It's what, and you get worse and worse and worse. The situation's a trigger, and, and then your elephant gets trained, hey, we just got triggered. And then your elephant's like, oh shit, start the heart pumping, start the sweats, start the panic, start feel like you're at an amusement park where you're getting ready to go down a roller coaster while you're sitting in an office in a meeting room with people that are drinking lattes. And you're like, why am I feeling like this? Why is my adrenaline, like, what is going on with my elephant? But you're right, that emotion, that feeling has now triggered your elephant automatically to go act, which is literally what a panic attack is. And then your rider gets all freaked out. You're like, oh my God, like we are dying. And the elephant's like, we are dying.
So sometimes the elephant will kill itself because it behaves in such a way. It's like,
trained,
it's trained for example, like internally, your system will attack its own self, right?
Yeah.
We call this autoimmunity, right? But meaning like your body is actually killing itself because it gets into this cycle. You're going to have to stop the cycle from initiating, from activating. That's what I'm saying is it's sometimes it's a subtle line between the emotion because emotion is like an indicator to the rider, but it's also the way the rider trains the elephant because the rider takes the emotion and doesn't process the emotion. You are training the elephant to say, hey, that is acceptable or isn't acceptable, whatever, however you want to say it. Because if you say, hey, my life sucks, right? And the emotion is a bad emotion. You doesn't matter if you win the lottery. It's still your life still sucks because that's the way you've been training your elephant to feel the feeling. Before I have no one, even bother to hang out on me, and now I have 1 billion people trying to follow me, trying to say, I can't have either way because you train the elephant to act that way. Because how can you have peace if you have trained the elephant to evoke the emotion? The emotion is what causes you distress, right? Because for me, if your heart are already racing and elevating all the time, right? That isn't really the emotion that as a person, as a unique person that I am, I don't like that emotion. Some people may like that emotion, may have that affinity and alignment with that emotion, right?
It's actually funny. That's actually how, when I started having panic attacks, is how I stopped having panic attacks. Because I was like, man, eventually I just embraced that feeling, and I was like, it's kind of cool to feel like I'm like can go like lift a car right now. I was like, I feel like I'm like the Incredible Hulk, like my heart's pumping, my face is flushed, like, I was like, you literally just feel like this wave of like warmth and like power come over your body when that happens, right? And I was kind of like, whoa. Eventually I taught myself to like that emotion and to like that feeling versus be scared of that feeling. And that was how I stopped caring about panic attacks, because when they happened, I was kind of like, yeah, bring it on. And then finally, my elephant eventually was like, all right,
Right,
he
you
doesn't
train your
care anymore.
elephant. You train your elephant because the thing is,
Right.
whenever you tell an elephant this is the bad thing and that emotion is
Right.
a bad emotion, eventually it's going to try to avoid that emotion. And when the emotion comes in, it overreacts and it will, like I say, it shuts itself down. Just like
Right.
I told you about the autoimmune disease, is your body attacks itself, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's the key to training the elephant, because you can't speak to it as if you speak to another person. You have to speak
Right.
it into emotions. So emotions to me, it's what you give it, but it also gives back to you. Because like I speak to you in English, you speak back to me English. So it's about the emotion emotion is like these particles that go back and forth between the rider and the elephant. That's the channel of communication.
Right.
So if you continue to label something as like bad, every time you see it, you say bad, right? You have a negative feeling about something. It's always going to avoid it, and it's going to cause you to have anxiety, have to have panic attacks, or whatever the case may be. You say, hey, maybe I'm allergic to money, and so whatever, you can train your elephant to say, hey, money is evil. You will never have money because then you avoid money.
Right.
You will avoid money because that's what they do. Is hey, money is evil, money is bad, money kills. Right? When you have money, people kidnap you, blah blah. You teach the elephant to have these emotions, and it will avoid money. Or the opposite of it can happen. Like, hey, there is money, right? And money can give you leverage to do other things. And then money to the elephant attracts to money. They say, hey, money is a good thing. It will go and it'll find ways to get money. Versus the other way, right? That doesn't matter. You can win a lottery and you will lose the money because
right.
you're
happens
afraid of
all the
money.
time. I mean,
You're afraid of money.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You train your elephant to be afraid of money.
Right.
Well, that's the thing is, if you're afraid of money, you don't want to understand it because you push it away. Every time you get close to money, you avoid it, right? That's what your elephant does. It avoids it. So if you avoid it, how do you know about it? So that's why I'm saying when you win a lottery, what do? Right?
Really fast.
Right?
Right.
And the people who the elephant loves money say, hey, money is a friend. Let's invite it to do something. Let's do whatever, right? And money just comes just because you're not afraid, you're not avoiding it.
Right.
Right. So it's just an example. I'm saying, hey, the emotion you tell your elephant, it is important. And so having the ability to process emotion and get them to, like I said, you can't really micromanage the elephant, and you can't really ignore the emotions either. So emotion is one of those things where it's very subtle. So you have to take it to, process it and tell an elephant, hey, this one is good, bad, or whatever. You are basically the decision maker. You don't actually tell them how to do things. You tell them what you need. I need you to take me to the airport. You just need to give it the directive, and it will find ways to do it for you because that's its superpower.
Right.
It is like 110,
and,
1,000 times better, much faster than you.
And all you got to do is wait 90 seconds. Like literally, wait 90 seconds. If you have an emotion, wait 90 seconds.
Elephant has to be the elephant all the time. It's about trying to train it. You cannot carry the elephant. The elephant has to carry you 100% of the time. Okay.
Right.
It's saying you know how you ride an elephant. The elephant cannot ride you. You have to ride the elephant all the time. So the elephant has to do its job all the time. You have to train it to do its job well. If you don't train it the right way, then it's not gonna like the way do it. Just like you don't train an elephant in the correct way, and you yank his chain or whatever, and it hurts. It's going to get frustrated. A good trainer trains the elephant in a more rewarding way. Kind of get it to in the right that aligns with the elephant. The other trainer where you whip it, you yank it, you put like nose rings or whatever on it, and you yank it to steer. So you imagine that elephant versus the other elephant. Whenever something happens, which elephant do you think will perform the best?
I mean, it's clearly
That's what I'm saying is humans are exactly like that. When you have two brains, is you have to train an elephant and let the elephant act on its own accord based on its training.
Right.
It has been trained for this. This is what we're saying. It has been trained for this, meaning that you have given it the blueprint of how to do certain things in a certain situation, and it will do that super effective. Right. Like let's say you play tennis, right? You train your arm to whack the ball, what I've been thinking about. You
It's
can whack it into the right corner, and you can split second decide what corner you want to whack it into. You
yeah.
think about a novice, right? A person who has not trained an elephant yet. How do you think that person's going to return that ball, that fastball, even a loft ball, right?
Yeah. No,
It doesn't work. You cannot carry the elephant.
It's funny you say that because and this has got to be like my final thought because I got to go to bed because it's getting pretty late tonight. I told you, like, I'm stretching my shoulder. I was just icing it right beforehand. I was playing a tennis match tonight and I have a tennis match tomorrow, and my shoulder's all fucked up right now, like really bad. And like my poor elephant can't do what my elephant wants to do. Like this is the saddest thing that I've ever experienced in my tennis playing life at this point in time. Has been the past couple months where I've been so injured that I can't, the stuff that my elephant wants to do, I physically can't do it. So like today, my rider, I felt like crying because I was like for my elephant, because I was like, I feel so sorry for you, elephant. I know what you're trying to do. I've never experienced this before in my entire life playing the sport where I'm like,
I mean, you think about having an elephant with a nail under his foot and he's trying to step on it and go, boom, boom.
Exactly.
I want to walk and I want to put my foot down, but I can't because you have a nail under my foot. That's what I feel
it's
like.
Brutal. I mean, it's fucking brutal. Well, the worst part is like, I'm not so debilitated that I can't move at all. It's just that my elephant can't do what my elephant has been trained to do and wants to do. Honestly, like right now, until I can figure out a longer term solution for what's going on and get this back to healed, I got to figure out how to play it differently. And my rider needs to like have a conversation with my elephant, and we need to figure out how can we play pain-free stuff that we can do, even if it means we lose matches, that's fine. But like, I need to rethink, and reprogram a little bit right now of our strategy of what my elephant naturally is going to do. And I started to do that a little bit in the second half of the match, and it started to work to a certain extent, but I couldn't maintain it. But like my point of what I'm getting at is I've never experienced this before where I just can't do like what my elephant wants to do. Like I literally physically can't. It's not that I can't play or run or do whatever. It's not like I'm crippled or something like that. It's not like my foot is nailed to I'm not like playing with one arm, like, I mean, it's not like that's the scenario. I have an arm. I just can't use my full functionality of my arm. My poor little elephant's like going like, I don't know what to do. Like, what do you want me to do? And I don't know. And I honestly, my rider is like confused too. So like we were both having a breakdown out there where we're both like, I don't know. Like, like, I mean, I felt like I was just, everybody was just, in my head was like, just like sad, we're all going, I don't know. The rider's like, I don't know what to do. The elephant's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, oh, fuck, this is.
I haven't been trained for this.
Right. I have not been trained for this. I mean, honestly, like that's exactly what it is. I have not been trained for this. All right. I got to go to bed. It's getting pretty late. So the question we can leave for everybody for this one is, what might you find if you waited 90 seconds for a motion to pass before engaging, going forward? I think you'd find you're able to control a lot more and process the way that you want to process and align to your values and feel like you're more balanced versus just letting these emotions shove your elephant all over the place. So to wait 90 seconds, like it's really just 90 seconds. Like it's not that long. I don't.
It probably doesn't require 90 seconds. Probably require like maybe 5 seconds.
Good.
Most emotions that you act out like in the heat of the moment takes 5 seconds. When you blurt out something that you didn't meant, right? You felt regret right away. It's like 5 seconds.
Immediately.
So for 90 seconds, it's a long time for the rider to even process emotion and give it back to the effort. Say, hey, this is what I think it is. You take it and you process it this way. And to me, 90 seconds is plenty of time. I think if you can give a 90 second for everything that you do, I think it's going to make your life much less miserable. You're going to have less self-inflicted misery.
I mean, it reminds me of, because this was when I was doing the spot, stop, and swap challenge. You go down to the washer machine and you're like, you open it up and you're getting ready to put a load of laundry in, and you see, your wife left a load of clothes that are wet in the washer, and you're like, my immediate first thought is the emotion that always comes to mind is like, what the fuck? It's like, why would you do this? Like, I mean, this is exactly the
But another thing that I noticed is that the moment that you act into you go into your action, that action takes up the time. So you're not even processing it whenever you're acting out.
It's just immediate. Right? It's almost compulsory.
So the thing is, in the time where it takes you to act out, right? You don't process anything until after you stop acting out.
Yeah.
If you allow just 5 seconds before you act out, it will allow you to have enough information to process that before you even act out, right? If you wait 90 seconds, it means that you can act out like, hey, you let the emotion go through, meaning like let the emotion go through and you act like, say, what the fuck, do all that, right? You do that for like I probably do that for like 10, 20 seconds.
Yeah,
You don't
no,
do.
you'll get
I
tired. You'll get tired of it. I
it's
mean,
not like you go on and you rant for like
right.
a minute and a half. Right? A minute and
That's
a
a
half
long
is
time
a
to
long
rant.
time.
That's a
I mean,
long time to rant, you
so
know.
you probably get mad at her for like initial 10 seconds.
Oh,
So
for
what
sure.
the fuck? Yeah, why would she do that? Blah blah blah. Right. So you preoccupy for the next 5 seconds, 10
Right,
seconds
right.
of whatever you're acting out until you stop. Right. Because for me, I mean, at least for me, I can't say for everybody else. At least for me, because I'm a linear thinker, so I can't think when I'm acting out because
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
don't
agree.
have process it until I at first acting out, then I stop yelling or cursing or whatever it is I do, and then I process it, and then I say, "Well, shit, I think I will do that."
Yeah, it's not a big
You
deal.
know,
Like, you're like, yeah, it's fine. Okay, well, it's okay. Just move the laundry and move on. No, I agree with you. I think that is a good point. I'm kind of actually the proponent of let the action happen. Let your elephant just react. And then, like you said, it's not going to last for forever. Just let it and then process it. Right.
some actions you can't take back because
I know.
you put out something that you can't take back, right? Or you, like I said, if you say something and press my button, like it will take me less than a second to punch you in the face.
That's
So
true.
I can't take it back. The only thing I can say is I'm sorry.
Well, I guess then do your best to keep it in your head.
Saying it. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's okay to let your emotion act out, but I think it's better if you wait 5 seconds, or even a split a second out.
Speak.
But I'm talking about speak, like because a lot of people will blurt out something they don't mean.
Yeah,
Most people do.
for sure. That's my immediate reaction is always to be like, I just let it go. No matter what I'm doing, if I get frustrated, I just say it. And I probably shouldn't. If I just waited 5 seconds, 90 seconds for sure, I wouldn't say anything. But yeah, no, I'm with you.
Always driving, right? Whatever reason, it's like whenever somebody did something bad, right? She can honk the horn right away. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I let it process. It's like whenever I say, well, okay, he needs to be there, so I don't know what happened. And Mo, I say,
Right.
what did you honk at? Say, well, I don't need it.
I don't
Why
know.
would I honk it? I just can't do it. I was driving, right? And
Yeah.
somebody cuts me or do something bad or whatever. It's like I would maneuver. I don't honk because I'm processing it. For her, it's like
I mean, I'm more like your wife then, because I just would immediately I just act and then I process afterward. All right, so let's
pros and cons, right?
All right, so thanks for joining everyone. That was a fun conversation as always, and we will see you all tomorrow night for part 3 of 3.
Yep, sounds good.
Awesome.